Hey guys, and welcome to the first edition or first episode of Forgotten Fulci. And with this, as I told people a little bit earlier, but you may have forgotten or didn't watch the streamer video where I talked about Forgotten Fulci. Um, I'm going to be talking about movies that people don't usually associate with Lucio Fulci, and that includes sex comedies and westerns, both of which I'm going to be talking about tonight. I'm going to be talking about Fulci's western, or one of his westerns, or maybe more. I'm going to have to dig deeper. For the Apocalypse, which I saw early on with Steve in our relationship. I don't think we were married yet when we first watched it, and then we watched it again more recently, and I still love the hell out of it. And I'm going to talk about that one first. I'm going to get a few housekeeping things out of the way before we get to these movies. And the second movie stars Edwidge Fenech, who gets naked a lot in this and does play a dual role as twin sisters, Viola and Rosa. And you're going to get to hear my thoughts, get to hear my rating on both of these films. I had never seen La Pretora. The other title, the English title, was My Sister-in-Law. I'm not really, sure where that came from, but I got a kind of an idea where it came from, but it just seems like an odd title for it. But the Italian title, of course, is La Pretora. So, before we get started, I got a couple of things in, and I probably should have just done a daily grindhouse segment, but I'm lazy sometimes. But I got a couple of movies in today. Have not had a chance to check them out and see how they look. These are movies that I saw, have seen already. One of them I saw in the theater. One of them was an exclusive on Shudder. And I liked both of them so well that when they came out in their respective formats, I was gung ho to get them. And so the first one is Maxine, the third in a trilogy of films, starting with X, then Pearl, and then Maxine. Which y'all will remember, Maxine was Mia Goth's character in X. Now, also, you probably know now that she also played Pearl. Mia Goth is an amazing modern actress. A lot of people are really appreciating what she's doing. Not only with these films by Ty West, but also other films that she's been in. I think she was in that Infinity Pool movie, and she's been in some other stuff as well. But she is an amazing actress. I would have to agree with the people that have been singing her praises. So I'm not going to give it away if you have not yet seen Maxine, but I would highly, highly recommend it, especially if you like both X and Pearl. Okay. I'm not going to say that this is the coup de grace, but I think it was a great bookend. And if Ty West doesn't make any more movies concerning either Maxine or Pearl, I think I'm good. I think I've seen the cream of the crop as far as what he could do with these films. And so the other one I picked up was the one that me and Steve first watched on Shudder, and that's Late Night with the Devil. And I really, really enjoyed this. The creep factor was very, very high with Late Night with the Devil. You can see I haven't even opened them. There's a little glossy shine to them. I'm sorry about that. Just haven't had a chance to, barely had a chance to get them in because I got them in, I think, when I was still working. So if you haven't seen Late Night with the Devil, I would highly recommend it. Now, as I always say, please don't, unless you've already seen these and you want to purchase them to have them in your collection because you think you might watch them more than just, a single time, then yeah, by all means. But if you have not, and especially if you've not seen X and Pearl, make sure you watch them somehow. Again, I'm not telling you to go out and spend money, but watch them somehow for free uh, avenue if at all possible. But make sure you watch X and Pearl before you watch Maxine. And Late Night with the Devil just gives you, I don't know, it gave me cold chills. And had me just wrapped up in this story, and it pulled me one way and then the other. So I just really enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it more than Steve did. I think I may have enjoyed Maxine more than Steve did. But Steve's not, it takes a whole lot for Steve to get really animated about films anymore. Um, and me, I still, if I'll sing to the rooftops or scream to the rooftops if I think that something it is worthy of a watch. All right. So, I had something in mind for apples and oranges tomorrow night, and it is totally gone right out of my head. See, that's what I get for not writing it down. So I will be thinking, and if I can't think of what I originally had, I'll have to come up with something else Fulci related for apples and oranges. Okay. Um, or I may have to go back and maybe I mentioned it on something. I'm going to have to get better about writing things down because in my older age, things slip into my mind and slip right back out of my mind. And I hate that. And I guess it's just something that comes with age. But what are you doing, Zoe? My female basset hound's over here just making some groaning noises. Um, but I am planning on doing an apples and oranges Fulci style tomorrow night, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern time. It will be a live stream. This, of course, is pre-recorded. You guys and gals will not see it until after I finish recording it and upload it to YouTube. And then Thursday will be another fantasy Fulci, another stream where we talk about films we wish Fulci had made. I don't know what that was. These dogs, I swear, they freak me the heck out. I'm stuck here at the house by myself. Probably shouldn't be saying that on streams and videos, but Steve's working the super late shift, and like these dogs jump at noises and stuff like that, and it just it freaks me out when I'm here by myself. It's just me and the animals. All right. So, Friday Foolish, me and Candace will be talking about, and this will be at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We're trying a new time because, we just want to switch it up sometimes. So, tune in at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, and me and Candace will be talking about some of our favorite films to watch in the fall and around Halloween. Some of them may not necessarily have a Halloween theme, but they feel like fall or they feel like Halloween. So we're going to be talking about all of that Friday on Friday Foolish at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. No watch alongs this weekend, folks. I am planning on having another Terror Time tea. I was really super, super late with the latest Terror Time tea, and I forgot to fix some damn tea before I got on here. And I realized about halfway through that, geez, Dana, you're sitting there drinking an alcoholic drink, but you forgot to fix your tea for Terror Time tea. What's wrong with you? So there goes the mind again. Um, all right. So I think we're ready to get into, after I've gabbed for about 12 minutes, um, to get into the matter at hand, which is Forgotten Fulci. I keep forgetting to do kind of something similar to what I did before I went to Horror Hound, and that is something for Scarefest. So I'm going to have to do something this weekend, like have a super bonanza, because I haven't been keeping up with it. And next weekend is Scarefest. And dang it, I needed to advertise for them. So I will be doing something on Sunday, if I don't forget, about Scarefest. Okay. And apologies that I did not do this beforehand. I did several Countdown to Horror Hound weekends and haven't done one thing for Scarefest. So, without further ado, let's get into Four of the Apocalypse, which is the a western that Fulci made in 1975. Again, a lot of these movies are short. La Pretora is going to be the longer of the two tonight. This one is unrated. The running time's an hour and 27 minutes. It has Fabio Testi, Lynn Frederick, Michael J. Pollard's in this, and they're all great in this, even Fabio Testi. Lynn Frederick's very, very young in this. She plays Emmanuel Bunny O'Neill. Fabio Testi plays Stubby Preston, and Michael J. Pollard plays Clem. Harry Baird plays Bud. Thomas Milan's in this as Chaco. Just looking to see if there were any other recognizable names for those of you that keep up with Italian cinema. But I'm not seeing any right off. So what is this about? Well, and first of all, it's classified as a spaghetti western fantasy western. So I can definitely see the spaghetti western, but this is unlike any western I've ever watched. So it takes place in 1873, and there are four petty criminals, three men and a pregnant woman, and that's Lynn Frederick's character. Wander through the trackless terrain of Utah, where they are hounded by a sadistic bandit. And I will tell you guys and gals that this movie, I ran the gamut of emotions with this movie. So much so that, in fact, I never knew how to feel at any given time. Sometimes it would be really funny. Sometimes it would be action packed. Sometimes it'd be very emotional and sad, almost making me cry. So I really think that Fulci did a very, very good job in developing these characters. And credit also has to go to the actors and actresses themselves. Lynn Frederick was fantastic in it. Um, Absolutely beautiful woman. And I don't know how young she was. I can probably find that out because this came out in 75. I didn't realize Lynn Frederick died in 1994. She was pretty young when she died. She was born in 1954. So she was what, 20, all of 21 when she was in For the Apocalypse. Wonder, I didn't know if she died of, if she was sick or, it says undisclosed. But she was only 40 years old when she died. So she died really, really young. And she was the fourth and final wife of British comedian Peter Sellers as well. So don't know. I don't know. I don't know what happened to her or anything like that. She did marry David Frost 6 months after Peter Sellers died. And I know I'm focusing so much on Lynn Frederick, but she was an amazing actress and very beautiful too. Um, and so her eagerness to remarry shortly after her first husband's death robbed her of any last shred of public sympathy. Um, so Lynn and David's marriage ended in divorce after only 17 months. Um, and then she married another guy, a heart specialist, Barry Unger. She married on Christmas in 1982. Um, and then her marriage to Unger ended in divorce in 1991. Um, now, so it said, this is awful to say, but I'm kind of intrigued by what led to her death. I didn't know that she had bouts of depression, rumors of chronic drug addiction, clinical depression, failed rehab treatments, and suicide attempts were common tabloid reports of her later years. Her weight ballooned, her face became sunken and bloated, her hair now cropped short and damaged. Um, and then her mother found her lifeless body April 27, 1994, in her home. Um, but her mother did say that Lynn's death had been caused by natural causes due to a seizure in her sleep. Although this has been disputed by some people, seizures frequently kill people who stop drinking without medical help. So, yeah, very, for such a beautiful and talented woman, that's a really sad end to her. But back to the movie. Like I said, the movie For the Apocalypse is an amazing Western. Say what you will about Fulci. If I hadn't liked a variety of Westerns before watching this, I would have, just loved Westerns because, like I said, this was like no Western I've ever seen before. It's not like a Clint Eastwood Western. It's not like a John Wayne Western. And Clint Eastwood was in his fair share of spaghetti Westerns. But For the Apocalypse was just an amazing piece of work. And so I say hats off to Fulci, hats off to the actors and actresses that were in this film because the combination of everything really made it work. Fabio Frizzi's music also added an extra layer to this film. And if you think I'm, trying to blow smoke up your butt about this movie, go out, search out this movie, of course, in a for free version first. I think Steve has it on his Savage Guns set. Now, I'll have to ask him. Yeah, I think that's why we ended up watching it again because when um, I may have gotten him that Savage Guns set for Christmas. Can't even remember now. Isn't that awful? But as far as westerns go, uh, For the Apocalypse can't be beat. And I know people are going to just shake their heads because I'm giving so much of this Fulci stuff 5 deadites out of 5. But guys and gals, I got to give this 5 deadites out of 5. If you do not believe me, seek out this movie and give it a try. Even if you think you don't like Westerns, I would urge you to seek this one out and watch it. I was astounded the first time I watched it. Then I waited a few years, and then me and Steve revisited it and watched it again. And I was still taken with how amazing this film was. It, of course, is not a zombie film. It's not a horror film. It's not a gore film, although it has its fair share of blood and guts and stuff. You know, not like where literally guts are coming out of anybody or anything, but in any event, it has its fair share of blood, as a lot of spaghetti westerns did have a lot of blood. They weren't like the sorry guys and gals, my throat is, I can always tell when I've been doing too much talking because my voice will start to go and my it'll get all scratchy. Um, but I'm gonna stand by my review or my rating for the apocalypse. So we're gonna move right along to La Pretora, my sister-in-law, and this is listed as a raunchy comedy or a sex comedy. And Steve told me that Edwidge Fenech did several of these in her career, especially early on. So this one came out in 1976. It's as old as I am. It's 48 years old. And like I said, it's listed as a raunchy comedy and or sex comedy and just a plain old comedy. So, but this is an Italian comedy, folks. So don't expect it to be like our American comedies because it's not going to be. Um, so a magistrate is torn between her job and marrying her childhood friend, all the while her rivals hire her prostitute twin sister. I don't really think of her as a prostitute, but she is what you would call a woman of leisure, a woman of easy virtue, and also an adult film star as well. Okay. But don't worry, this is not like it's going to be porn. It's, you're led to believe that that's what the sister Rosa is making, is participating in as porn films. But they don't go that far, you know. In that I mean, there are no insertion shots. Okay, there's no close ups. There's none of that stuff like in the uncut version of Thriller or Cruel Picture. Okay, so we don't have to worry about that. But there is a fair amount of nudity from Miss Finneck. Um, and I can see, why guys like Edwidge. Um, she has a nice body. Um, she was quite young here and has nice breast and nice behind and all that. So, yeah, the guys are going to enjoy that. So, um, I'm not going to put them down for liking that because I'm sure that a lot of this was put into the film mainly as eye candy. And if you got to have eye candy in a movie, you could do a lot worse than Edwidge Fenech, okay? I'll just say that. She's a dark haired beauty with a very nice figure. I ain't even going to lie about it. Um, so, like I said, Edwidge Fenech plays a dual role. She plays Viola, who is the magistrate, which I guess is like a judge. And get the opening shots of her walking across town, and guys are just eyeballing her. And this guy comes pulling up in a vehicle and asks for her help, and she's just like, she's having none of it. She's obviously a woman that takes her job very seriously and doesn't think of herself as a sex symbol, doesn't think of herself as eye candy. She's a no nonsense type of woman. Okay. And so she just basically ignores this guy. She kind of blows him off. And then she sees him again and he gets out of his car and he's like, "Hi, why are you so cold to me?" And yada, yada, yada. And so he's in trouble for, he has to go to court because in a restaurant, this guy is what I would call a hustler. Okay. Um, he's in trouble and he's been in trouble several times for other things. And what the latest thing is, he was feeding people cans of dog food and I think calling it goulash or and so he'd been laying it on thick with Viola, and his lawyer is telling him, don't worry about the judge and all that. And then she comes out and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I was hitting on her. She's gonna throw the book at me." So you have that funny scene and stuff. And there are several funny scenes throughout it. And yes, some of the stuff is a bit raunchy. When we first see Edwidge Fenech playing the other sister, Rosa, she's laying out by the pool at a hotel with just little pasties, these little flowers covering her nipples, basically. And she's got the bikini bottoms on and she's laying out there. And like I said, she's a woman of easy virtue. She goes from man to man to man. Doesn't really care, but I don't call her a prostitute. Maybe some people would call her a prostitute, but I didn't call her a prostitute. So she gets a call from Viola and she's begging Viola to come help her out and help her pay the hotel bill because the man she was with just up and left her, and now she's got his bill and her bill, and she doesn't know what she's going to do. And Viola's like, "Yeah, yeah, I know. You're so irresponsible, and you're going to kill yourself because this man's left you. I don't have time for this, basically, and all that." But she does end up coming to the hotel, and because her and her sister are twins, the hotel manager's like, "Hey, I want my money." And she's like, "What?" He said, "You got to pay your bill." And she tries to tell him, and he's like, "I've heard everything, right? Just pay the bill, and or I won't give you your suitcase back." And she's like, "What suitcase?" He said, "You know what suitcase." But so basically, she ends up paying the bill. There's a whole bunch more scenes of Edwidge Fenech as Rosa, getting naked at the drop of a hat, topless and bottomless. So you ladies, if that bothers you, the only thing that bothers me is when Steve goes, and he says he's, kidding, he's going over the top with it. So I try not to get irritated with him, but he Edwidge Fenech is somebody that he would go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs for. Okay. So if you don't like to watch that kind of stuff with your husband or significant other, um, where a woman's getting naked and the woman has, because all us women usually feel like the woman that our husband is watching and salivating over on the movie has got a much better body and figure and all that than we do, right? I think there are probably a few people out there, a few women out there that have high self confidence, but I ain't one of them. And I figure the majority of women out there do not as well. So we keep going back and forth. Rosa keeps going from man to man to man. And then it appears that Rosa ends up with Viola's boyfriend and or fiance. And so Viola has been, struggling with, do I quit my job as a magistrate and marry my childhood sweetheart, or do I stick to my guns and stick to my job and give up the romance? Because there's talk of like she doesn't even take her nightgown off when her and her man make love, and she doesn't even take all her clothes off when they make love and all of that. um so it appears that he gets with Rosa, but at the end of the film, after we went with all this back and forth, and you're not sure who's with who and what's going on. This is a very wacky, madcap, sometimes extremely over the top sex comedy, and and let me be on the lookout for the adult film part, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. There probably is a real adult film called that, but again, it does not go into porn territory. It just shows you just enough. There's just enough skin there for men to be happy, and that's about it. It doesn't go there. It doesn't go that far, for which I was extremely pleased that it did not. I wouldn't even call this softcore. Some people might call it softcore, but I didn't even think it went that far, you know. But there is plenty of topless Edwidge Fenech and bottomless and topless Edwidge Fenech for the male viewers. But funny thing about this, Steve has told me the sex comedies that Edwidge is in, he doesn't much care for them, even though she gets naked in them. He just has a hard time sticking with them. So I got a funny feeling that this would not be his cup of tea. So by the end of the film, we think that the boyfriend is with Rosa. And I was like, what the heck? I thought he loved Viola. And he does. You think he's in bed with Rosa, and he says, or she figures it out. She looks at him, she says, "You're still in love with Viola." And he says, "Yes, it's like I tried to pretend that I wasn't, that it wasn't going to work between us, but I still love her." And it turns out he's been with Viola the whole time. It's kind of like and people might say, "Well, that's a weird analogy," but it's kind of like when Sandy on Grease gets a little bit bad at the end of Grease, and she has a leather jacket and she's smoking cigarettes and stuff like this. So what Viola essentially allows herself to do is get a little bit freer, be a little bit more like her twin sister. And so in the end, things turn out good for everybody concerned. And I thought it was a fun little film. I found myself laughing at it several times. I don't know if there's an English dub of this. I tried to watch this on YouTube, and it was in Italian, and it did not have English subtitles. So I was like, that ain't gonna work. So I ended up having to watch Steve's version, which does not have an English dub, but it does have good English subtitles. And, if you're not in the mood to read subtitles, then maybe you should wait. But when you are in the mood, I think La Pretora is, it's worth a watch or two. It wouldn't be something I'm going to watch every week or every day or something like that. But it's, or maybe not even once a month, but maybe once every few months I would watch La Pretora. And this is one that I'm not going to give a 5 deadites out of 5. But I will go as far to give it between 4 deadites out of 5 and 4.5 deadites out of 5. Yes, I still do not have the damn half. Sorry. But between a 4 and a 4.5, I would give Law of Pretora. Fun little sex comedy. I mean, no more, no less. And if you like those sort of things, which I've watched my fair share of American sex comedies, and I like the majority of them. So, anyway, it is now 10:16 because I got a late start with this. But that's the nice thing about these pre-recorded things, that I can take my time watching the films, and just get on here when I can and record it. 30-45 minutes, between 30 and 45 minutes, and we're usually good to go. But um, I guess that's all from me for right now. But I want to thank everybody that's going to watch this on the replay. I appreciate, again, all of your support of my little fledgling channel, because I still think of it as a fledgling channel. I don't think my channel's ever going to explode and become huge, but I like it the way it is. I like the nice little family unit I've got going on with people that are regular visitors to my streams, and stuff like that. Not that I don't like new people to come in. I love new people to come in. But I have resigned myself to the fact that my channel is never going to be huge, and I'm okay with that. Um, I have 800 and something subscribers. Probably not even half of those people watch all the videos, and that's okay too. But I'm just thankful for the people that have stuck with me, that haven't dropped out for various reasons, and you're still an active participant. Um, in the chat, or you don't even have to be an active participant in the chat, because some people just aren't comfortable doing that. But however you support me, I sincerely appreciate it. And with that being said, I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And before I get off of here for the night, I want to remind everybody, as I always do, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday night, folks. And tomorrow's hump day. And I got to remember what I was going to do apples and oranges on. Pray for me, folks, that I remember what that was, or come up with something equally as good, because I think it was pretty cool what I wanted to do. And that's what I get for not writing it down. But I'm out of here for the night, folks, and I'll see everybody next time.